Yeah, 3 against 1. I have to do this in the movies all the time.
No, you're in trouble. You know what you're in for. How's it going?
Good.
Good. All right, so we will start here in just a couple minutes, and actually we'll start here pretty much right away. We'll start off just asking you if you've been to St. Augustine, if you have any favorite spots, and then Troy will jump into a couple questions. We'll just kind of have a conversation from there.
Yeah, well, I have been there with Judd White, who owes me enormous amount of money.
Everybody.
Yeah.
He can't hardly show his face, and he thought that I could successfully beard him if I came there. But I realized there was like 4 people I almost got in a fight with, and it was all over Judd. So I haven't been back. I said, Judd, next time we come, I'm going on stage. You deal with whatever unfinished business you have. So actually really happy to come there because, in a band situation, there's always these moments where you're going to somebody's hometown. And in this instance, it's Judd. And he gets to sleep in his own bed. He's out on the road with us right now. But, he loves it there. And he just really wanted us to play there. And we do too.
Yeah. So where does he make you sleep then? The tour bus? It sounds like Judd is being very, very selfish here, Kevin.
Judd doesn't make me do anything.
There you go.
Well, he's actually staying at a very nice place.
There you go. Okay. Well, I have a feeling I know where it is then.
More than one season. Yeah.
No, it's amazing how much how important he actually has been to myself and the band. It really has, because we're not a band that goes out and promotes and tells everybody. We played the last 16 years around the world. We played the Kremlin. We played South America. We could probably play 200 times a year, but we haven't. And Judd, is with all these bigger acts, but he will come on the road with us. He just likes it.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a great wingman. You need to send him back because I need him back here. He helps me out a lot.
There you go. Okay.
He's a great wingman, and I think I have an open tab for him at the Teeny.
Yeah.
So, but Kevin, this is Troy, and one of the biggest questions I have for you is, because you've been so successful with everything else that you've done in your life, why put yourself through the tortures of being on tour and doing this music thing?
Well, you're right about that. I mean, I wouldn't do it unless I loved it, because I don't need to do that. But I did have that experience in my early 20s when I was trying to be an actor, and my group of friends were largely musicians, and I got back into music a little bit with John Koyman and Blair Howard for a minute. The movie started to take off, and I got this really horrible critique from this Hollywood critic, and it was brutal. And I thought, the movies were going, so, and it's always that typical thing, the actor musician moment's a pretty easy target. But I was trained classically on piano. I just grew up with music.
Huh.
And so what happened was I stopped because the movies were going well. I said, do I need this? Am I going to run into this a lot? And I don't usually do that. I don't really run away from a fight that way. And I couldn't do what I do if I was going to be timid about things. But I decided I'm not doing this. Such was the harshness of it. Mm-hmm. So cut 25 years later on a second marriage, my wife stumbles into the music and listens to it for a couple, a while, and starts to ask me questions about where's this from? What's this going? Hang on a second. Hey, Judd. Yes, trust me, I'm doing a radio thing here. I can hear whatever going on. Nod head.
He's new to the business. We'll forgive him. He's only been doing it for 30 years.
So what happened was she finds some music and starts to ask me gently about it. Where'd this come from? And here's a prodding without me really telling her why I'm not doing it anymore. I tell her, and she listened to me, and she looked at me, and she said, let me ask you a couple questions. She said, one, are you happy when you're making music? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, okay. She said, what about, are the people in front of you that are listening, are they happy? And I said, I think they are. Mm-hmm. And then she just said, what could be wrong with that?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the universe ripped open for me. I called 2 of the guys who were in that original band. I said, I want to start playing music wherever I'm making movies, our own music. And that's how it started 16 years ago. And she helped me by just those simple words, and we haven't looked back. So do I like the bus rides? Sometimes, most of the time, no. But do I like playing? Yeah, because it's real. It's right in front of us. We've recorded over 100 songs. It's not a hobby. We take it really seriously. But, you know, I mean, my main function in the band is I kind of break all the ties beside, you know, and which means most of my songs don't get in.
Hey, and that's one of the questions like I have for you. You know, it sounds to me, and I've talked to Judd several times, and you do a lot of your own writing. So how does that process work for you? I mean, with all your amazing life experiences, how do you start? Do you start with a hook, or, you know, we've talked to a lot of different songwriters. How do you start your process? I'm the weakest songwriter in our group, but that means
at least you can admit it, Kevin.
You know, I try really hard, and like I say, most of it just doesn't get there. But I have three. Sometimes a melody comes to me. Sometimes, you know, a series of words. Sometimes, you know, I will just say a line to somebody because I'm thinking about whatever I'm thinking about, and the line feels so much like a song, the way I'll speak, and the next thing you know, the song will come. But honestly, the strength of our band, you know, are the guys, and I think that's why the band is so nimble, and so it doesn't have a same sound, is because it's coming from four different writers, 5 writers really. Blair writes amazing. So what happens is I just have to figure out what we play, and that was the only rule. I said I'm going to break all the ties in this band. If you want to be in the band, that's how it will work, and we've never had a problem.
Yeah, and you talked about your band, and your band's Modern West, and you said you've been together 16 years. How did everybody come together? It sounds like you had 2 original people that played with you before.
Brought them back. Yeah. You know, brought them back. And it was kind of nervous to ask them because things were going actually pretty good for us back then. And then I just stopped, and it was like, we just made a bunch of money. And I go, look, I'm not going to put up with this. And so I started with them, and I said, look, do you want to try this again? And John, without hesitation, came out, and we started noodling around with songs. Then because they'd obviously continued their relationships, we had 2 guys come out of Nashville, Park Chisholm and Teddy Morgan, and then Larry Cobb's a drummer that they'd been working with in Tucson. So the band happened, and we've never changed, and we really don't have arguments. The band likes to practice. Go figure.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big deal. Now, I got to ask you a question that I like to ask bands. I've talked to a lot of bands who tour, and one thing they always tell me is consistent food is something they're always looking for. Man, they hate finding a bad place. Do you have a style of food you look for when you're on the road? Like, man, we got to get Chinese, or I got to get a Chili's burger or something. Is there something you go for when you're on the road?
Happens. The bus won't fit under that sign at Taco Bell, but I like to go there. So the band is embarrassed about that. So what happens? The bus sits on the curb, and I go stand in the drive line and say, I want 55 of these. And the band kind of accepts it. So I look like some guy under a street lamp at night, kind of talking to a machine.
Yeah, everybody's wondering what you're doing out there.
Waffle House is fun, yeah. but that started with 10 cups. So
yeah, and you hit 2 of my favorite spots. I just found out last week that Taco Bell is actually open when you're sober too. Oh, I didn't know if you guys knew that. So
I didn't know. That's news to me. It's breaking news.
It's a new thing.
Hey, Kevin, Davey over here, real quick. I just always wanted to ask, with all the iconic roles that you've done throughout all of your spectrum, has that ever inspired you with any of the music? Dances with Wolves was an epic project, and I just can't imagine that not being inspiration in your music.
Yeah, well, those spaces and those kind of things, getting to do it, and you know, there's a lot of things to making a movie. Being up early before anybody sees the sun come up, and I see 200 people just milling around, getting ready to work all day long, and I realized there's no bell going to go off. I'm not going to recess. I prayed in school that my life could be recess, and with it's come a lot of work. But when I make movies, I thank God that this is what happened for me. When I play music, I thank God this is what happened for me. I've taken some really big bites out of life, Okay. But life has taken some really big bites out of me too. I've had a divorce. I started a second life. But this journey I've been on is one that I actually am aware of. Well, your question, I am aware how good it's been for me. John Dutton, I've been writing a lot of music about him, about how the Yellowstone, about the land, about his wife that passed away. If you find those things, when I was doing Hatfield and McCoy's, we did a record called Famous for Killing Each Other, which was about this angry vendetta, American vendetta. And if you've never heard that record, it's all Appalachian. It's a concept record. It's literally about everything I was feeling. There's music cues in there, big long ones that are feeling. So if you listen to music, I think you'd really like feeling a concept. And so that was called Famous for Killing Each Other. And Yellowstone, I did the same thing as I create my character called Tales from Yellowstone. So if you listen to Tales from Yellowstone, you're not going to hear like a rock and roll situation, although there's rock and roll in it, so to speak. But everything is tied to how I'm feeling when I walk on the set. The characters are on the set. And both those records don't have anything to do. In fact, 3 or 4 of those songs will find their way into the set when we play.
And I love Yellowstone. I'm a guy who's followed your career. I have a little gray in my beard, so I've been with you pretty much your entire career. But I love Yellowstone, and the characters that really are developing amazingly to me are Rip, Beth, and Jimmy. Especially Jimmy. Jimmy's one of those guys everybody roots for in Yellowstone. Is there a particular character that you're like really proud of? Because you guys are going into your 5th season. Is there a character in Yellowstone where you're like, wow, I didn't see that happening at the beginning, but man, he's an amazing character now?
I kind of felt that really early on that they were rooted very on in who they were, and then the longer time they get to have a bigger architecture, a bigger arc to see them go. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy shows up in hoodies, with like sequins on him, and he's on the ranch. And I think John Dutton would just do this.
Yeah, it's just
so I don't need a line to figure out what my character would say, but everything's been written beautifully for me. They have the writer creator has a real feeling for the character that I'm playing, and so it's really it's been nice that way.
And Kevin, I went back and, I knew you're coming. I'm going to the concert on Monday night. It's at the amphitheater. We got to plug that. There are still some seats available there at the amp.
Wow. Yeah.
Which I find hard to believe, but they're still available at the amphitheater on the 25th. But I went back and I listened to a song and I think it's one of the older songs, and it's The Sun Will Rise Again. And I listened to this song and I was like, wow, this really fits into where we're at with COVID and some of those things. I don't know exactly how that song was written and who wrote that song, but to me, it feels like we're coming out of COVID, and that song hit me just this week. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it seems like we can wake up almost on a daily basis sometimes and see the world has just torn someplace apart. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a Hurricane Katrina or a tornado or a flood. In my community, these floods came and killed 20 people in the middle of the night. These boulders came down and rolled through a neighborhood. And
wow.
And we all wake up and see it. And we're kind of lucky that it's not us, but we see people, wading in water, wondering, where the electricity is. And out of that song, we started to think about, we wrote a song called 5 Minutes to America, which was about Katrina. If you've never listened to the words of that, check that song out. That's an angry song, because I was making 2 movies down there, Mr. Brooks and The Guardian.
So, there you go. There you go.
They're frozen.
Okay. Okay. We're back.
There we go.
How's that, guys?
Okay. We got you back.
We got you back now. Thank you. All right. The question
I just got a little sign. Let's keep going. It just, my internet's a little unstable, but maybe I might have to sing that stupid.
He froze up
just
again.
As he says that, it froze up again. All right. Well, All right, well, let's promo it at least.
Yeah.
I mean, so if we can't connect with him, I mean, we can at least get word out on the shows and stuff, and we can just kind of cut from here.
Well, first off, we got to say thank you for him coming on and Zooming with us and having that great conversation with us.
Yeah.
You know, just I'm really looking forward to the concert. I will be at the concert.
Yeah.
It is this coming Monday, October 25th. If you haven't listened to his music's very great storytelling type music. And his band is excellent. I mean, there's super professional.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice. Just really
They've been
looking
at it
forward
for
to
16 years. I had no idea about that tidbit either. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
impressive.
So, but
Cool. Well, yeah, we encourage everybody to grab tickets. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a great show.
Modern West.
And if you've never been to the Amp and you're just a Kevin Costner fan,
Yeah.
this is your opportunity to get there.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting award-winning actor and a great singer and a great band and a great performance. So
It's not
you know,
it's not a 2-for-1, Troy. You're about to say it's a 2-for-1. It's like a 4-for-1.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
It's like a 4-for-1,
So-
man. Well, we definitely appreciate Kevin Costner taking some time to zoom in and talk to everybody here in St. Augustine and St. Johns County and let us get to know him a little bit better.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to call Judd, tell him thank you.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
All right.
Well, you guys, we will check back in with you soon. We've got a couple more shows today, and then we've got high school football tonight. So we will talk to you regardless
All right.
soon.
See you soon.
Thanks, guys.